Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the Hystax OptScale group demo webinar. I'm Max Bozhenko, Chief Technical Officer and Architect at Hystax. And today I will speak about the latest updates of Hystax OptScale and tell you about your first steps in our product and how it can be applied in your organization to keep the control on your cloud expenses. So the agenda for today is the following. First of all, I will speak about Hystax as a company and about our products. Then we will make a small journey back to the topics we had on our previous webinars and proceed with the live demo of the product and Q&A session. So we start with a few words about the Hystax. Hystax is a global leader in cloud migration and cross clouds and hybrid cloud disaster recovery. We have customers spanning 5 continents and offices in 4 countries with more than 80,000 machines migrated and 5,000 replicated for disaster recovery. With our current product, Hystax Acura, we have strong, in-depth experience in cross-cloud disaster recovery protection and migration between public and private clouds. And obviously, working with our partners and customers and also using clouds internally, we see how complex cloud cost management could be. Because every cloud has its own billing model. Hundreds of resources in the cloud should be counted and kept under control to avoid the situation when you receive a bill that is 2 or 3 times more than you expected. And that's why we decided to create a hybrid cloud management platform, which is focused on cost governance, control, and optimization. And on our previous webinars, we talked about frequent challenges of cloud governance, concentrating on cost efficiency of cloud usage. And the outcomes of that discussion were the first cloud usage profile may differ from one organization to another, but for the most organizations, the top spans, if you speak in Amazon AWS terminology, are EC2, the compute engine, RDS, Redshift, and S3. One of the most dangerous situations for your cloud bill is losing control on the consumed resources while not knowing exactly what is the purpose of every instance, database, or 3 buckets. Of course, you can apply simple resource tagging, which might help you to find unused or obsolete resources if you build the proper process around it, but it takes time and also costs some resources. You can use Cloud Native Cost Explorer, but they're quite complex and obviously work only within a single cloud. And if you go for multi or hybrid cloud models, that make your proper cost management even more complex task, sometimes even blocking your organization from using more than one cloud at a time. The most natural way that we see and that we found is to map cloud resources to get clarity of their real purpose and set budgets, mapping the resources to the organizational structure and the members of your team. So keeping that in mind, we built our cloud management platform called Hystax OptScale. And here's the list of major goals which we follow with our product. On the first place, it's cloud cost governance and transparency. You should be able to map your cloud consumption across all clouds used to the real structure of your organization, including departments, teams, or projects, and set an owner responsibility for every resource. You should obtain the way to see who and for what purpose spends every cent of your cloud bill and detect usage anomalies that may cause budget exceed. The second goal is cloud cost optimization, the ongoing analysis of the usage effectiveness of your cloud environment, like detection of, for example, over-provisioning resources. Maybe you have, and most likely you have 2 big compute instances, and we should detect that. And also such things that as cost-ineffective network data flows accrue due to incorrect data locality. The next goal is the single entry point for resource provisioning and management. The unification of provision experience across multiple clouds that unlocks your team to use all variety of cloud services from different vendors. Of course, the flexible alerts to keep you permanently informed about the state of your cloud environment, the custom tagging, TTL rules to avoid overspend due to lost or obsolete resources, and so on. And finally, we are going to empower this cloud management platform with our existing products and provide seamless workloads mobility and IT resilience, an integrated way to move your workloads between the clouds, as well as building cross-cloud protection for them. Okay, let's finish with the descriptive part and proceed with the demo. So on previous webinar, I showed you the first steps in Hystax OptScale. So I showed you how to register organization, how to register yourself, how to create organization and perform its organizational configuration, connect to the cloud, see your resources, and get the first steps on making the spends in the connected cloud transparent. So if you want to see how to perform onboarding of your organization in Hystax OptScale, you can see the recording of our previous webinar on our YouTube channel. As of now, I will just quickly go through the onboarding flow to remind you what it consists of. So during the onboarding flow, it starts with the connection to the cloud. We've started our beta supporting AWS Cloud Connection, but going to add connection support for the connecting Azure Cloud, Azure subscriptions in the upcoming months. So here you need to provide the security credentials for the programmatic access. And of course, you don't need to give your root account, it's insecure. But you should provide the credentials from designated IAM user with limited read-only permissions for the resources discovery and the billing data. The details on the required permissions are all available in our documentation with examples of IAM policies that should be applied for that account. Also, to get the access to the raw billing data, OptScale needs access to the billing report creation. Billing reports created by the cloud. So if you have it already have it activated, you just enter the parameters you set while you created the billing report in the clouds, or you can, if you don't have the billing reports, turn it on. OptScale will create it for you. The next step will be the organizational structure. So here I can set, here I can create the organizational structure with root organization, with the subsidiary business units, as well as setting the budget goals for every level of my organization, starting from the root organization to the major business units, to the teams, and so on. So I can split the pie of organizational budget for the clouds into small pieces to provide the budgets for the even for single team of a few people. And on the last step of this wizard, I can invite my teammates. So I can invite my teammates just hitting and entering their emails here. So by default, every invited person will become a member of organization, which means that they will have read-only access and won't be able to have any resources in any budgets. But they also can have an engineer role. For example, Sally wants to be someone in the accounting. They may have an engineer role, being able to spend money in the budgets, assigned budgets, or being a manager who can take control on others' resources in the assigned budget business units. So I hope that this short walkthrough helped you. If you want to see it in more detail, how to connect, how to get enter the credentials and so on, as I said, you can see the recording of our previous webinar on the YouTube page. Okay, so let's explore what we can do with the configured organization. The first page that you see when logging in is a dashboard. Here you have the most general overview of your cloud expenses from the organizational and personal perspective. The budget expenses view here on the top left shows the expenses and forecasts of the business units spent of the business units you belong, as well as provides a way to see if you fit into the budget limits for this month. As you can see, I'm not so good at that. Of course, it's only for demo purposes, so apologize, but I was pretty well in the past months, but have forecasted expense that exceeds my own budget set for the organization. On the right, I see my personal expenses in the cloud, which means that I see here the summarized expenses of resources that belong to me. So if I'm the owner of some instance in the clouds, the expenses for that instance will be shown here as well. Yeah, and one of the most important things that can be found on the dashboard is the list of my tasks. So the concept of my tasks panel is to provide you a dynamic view on the status of your cloud governance, health in the form of actions that you take, that you should take to keep it in shape. And so the thing that I should mostly be afraid at this moment is an enormous number of unassigned resources in my organization. So I have over 15,000 unassigned resources in my organization. This is due to historical reports. So I need to categorize it somehow. Because having so much and having unassigned resources in your organization, meaning that you don't really know where you spend your money for which purpose, and for who spends the money in the cloud. So we will make the deep overview how to act with such a big number of unassigned resources and prevent their appearance in the next webinar. As of now, I can say that as a first basic steps, you can either assign it manually. Here I can select some resources from here, and and hit assign, where I can either assign it to someone else, setting the budget and owner in that budget. So, or assign it to myself if I is defining the budget from in which these resources should be counted in. And also, I clearly can understand that you, as well as me, don't want to do this operation selecting, hitting the assign button and choosing something here manually every time. So you can assign the following text to the newly created resource to put it automatically to the right budget and assign it to its owner. So if you extend your, for example, scripts with only two small texts, your resources will be properly budgeted, and the owner of the resource will be properly detected. This is the most basic technique of assigning resources. About more extended techniques such as budget and owner detection according to the custom rules. This will be the theme of our next webinar. Okay, so let's go to the Cost Explorer. So here you can see, here you can explore your cloud expenses from the different perspectives. First of all, you can, of course, navigate through the timelines at the start date and end date of the view to see the last month. Okay, let's look on the last week. As I can see, the last week I spent less than the same week before that. So I can also see the daily expenses here. I can see I can look on them from the different perspectives. From the perspective of cloud, for example, this is only one cloud connection on this account at the moment. I can see the breakdown of everyday expenses by the service, by the region where I spend the money, and see the percentage of the expenses, as well as I can take a look on the from the business unit expense perspective, from the organizational hierarchy perspective, to see which department spends how much every department spends in the cloud, as well as I can see the breakdown by the owner. So yeah, you can see it here. And more of that, more of providing these different views where you can navigate and see only the engineering related expenses and so on, digging deeper and deeper in the analysis and the breakdown. More of that, you can explore the billing data that stands behind this summarized view. So at any moment, you can click on the bar chart section, and which you want to explore, to go to the detailed expenses view. So in this view, it will show the every resource on which you spend your money, including not so obvious resources such as APIs calls number or cross-region network traffic, for example. And the more of that, you can break down every resource to the elementary particles of the billing. So to see the raw expenses records of the billing reports from the cloud. So of course, we understand that it's practically not possible to go through every single expense record. So yeah, that's what we do. We are working on summarizing these expenses, raw expenses, providing you the summary of spends, and providing you different views from different angles. So what we do, yeah. So we just we are trying to combine transparency and ability to see the full details with such views. So as well as providing you a way to see what's happening with your money in a matter of seconds, just looking on the dashboard. Okay, let me try to show you to go through the exploration a little bit more. For example, I want to see service. What was expenses in the last months for the I don't know. That's what we spent for S3 yesterday. So one of the not so obvious expenses that we see here is the get object, and if we go deeper, we will see that actually we already have been charged for the enormous amount, so for big amount of get requests, as well as we can discover that we also charged for the outgoing transfer, outgoing networking, and so on. One of the goals that we have regarding such not obvious charges from the cloud is to visualize them. So yeah, the following features that we will implement will cover the analysis of such expenses as well. Okay, so this is it for the demo parts. I think that it's time for your questions. And as a reminder, if you haven't already, please go ahead and type your questions in the designated question box so I can answer them in the order in which they are asked. Okay, let me check what we have there in the questions. Do you plan to support Microsoft Azure and GCP? Yes, of course, we are going to support both of them. The Azure is more prioritized for the development. We are going to add its supports in the upcoming months. GCP will be added after the initial release, so we will keep you updated on that. Can you import your customer hierarchy, for example, from AWS organizations into OptScale, so you can compare it against the AWS costing reports? Yeah, we are looking on different ways how to connect the OptScale to your existing organization hierarchy tools and some authorization services that organizations use. For example, we're going to explore how to connect business units and so on to the Active Directory. As well as AWS organization, of course. Can you import the custom tagging created in AWS or Azure into OptScale? So at the moment, no. After the initial release, we are going to work on the imports data scheme of cloud native Cost Explorer tools to allow you to import your already implemented scheme. Do you have trial available? Yes, of course we have. The beta actually is free of charge, so I hope that you will join us and yeah, go for the release with us. Until the release, it is fully free of charge, so feel free to join us. What other features will be in the release not have been shown today? So as I said, the custom rules for the resource assignments, Azure supports different reports, notifications, and so on. As well as custom budgets, the budgets for the not only for the business units, but for the, for example, projects or applications in your clouds, some R&D projects, as well as for CI/CD jobs that you run in the clouds, which the budgets, that type of budgets, for example, will allow you to estimate the cost of every single run of your CI/CD job in the cloud, so keep your spends healthy even from that perspective. When the product is supposed to be released, we are aiming to make the GA release in the end of September. Okay. So it looks like that's the all questions we have right now. Okay. If you don't have any questions, yeah, thank you for joining us. Don't hesitate to sign up for the beta program of Hystax OptScale. It's already launched, and we already have a bunch of customers trying it and going to the release with us. So we will appreciate you to join us and go to the release with us. Every feedback is valuable. So enjoy, and stay safe. Bye bye.